Good morning, everyone. Happy Super Bowl Friday.
Somebody just changed in 30 seconds. Look at that, Rachel.
How do you like it?
Yeah, Who is that? What number?
Do you think they're gonna win the Super Bowl?
Actually, yes. No. For those of you who are listening and not watching, my husband made me put on his Green Bay Packer jersey, and I thought, big sports weekend, I'm gonna do it just to be, American and excited about sports and the Super Bowl. How you like that?
I like it. I like it. I got on my Seattle Seahawk green sweater today, and Mr. Spicer, I can't make out that logo.
Those are the Patriots of New England.
The New England Patriots.
Yeah,
Sean, I got to ask you quickly. Patriot Nation, little bit of a family kerfuffle. Tom Brady said he is not rooting for either team. Where do you come down? Are you on Tommy's fan club or are you Patriot Nation here?
Well, I'm Patriot Nation 100%. I mean, look, Tom tried to play the weasel of but he's not broadcasting the game. So I don't know why this is a tough choice. I mean,
he's a Raider owner.
Right. He's part Raider owner. Fox is paying him $38 million a year. I don't think they were going to get upset to say that his team that he's got a statue in front of the stadium of in the hall. Just so everyone understands this, he's getting a little Teddy Bruschi and
Vince Wilfork
all pushed back because when Tom was asked who he's rooting for, he was like, well, I just want a good game. And they were all like Vince and Wilfork in particular was a little animated. It was like, no, this isn't a tough call.
The real question, guys, is what's for dinner? What's on the menu? What are you cooking for the Super Bowl?
Wings.
Well, I will say this. I love a lot of food, but my favorite thing on the Super Bowl is nachos.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yep. I love making them.
I will give myself a pass on Super Bowl Sunday. So it is truly we order it, bring it in, and it's just. But to Dan's point, you got to order nachos, you get some wings.
You're not going to the cardiologist on Monday, is what you're saying.
No,
you gotta have
maybe, but for the wrong reasons.
You gotta have the jelly meatballs, guys, and the little smokies.
Wait, hold on a second.
That I get the most excited about. You guys,
I've never heard of a jelly meatball.
I know, kind of. I think I know what you're talking about, but where are you? Do you make these or do you order?
I make them. Yes.
Is there actual jelly in the meatball?
Grape jelly and Heinz chili sauce in a crock pot for a number of hours, and it's delicious. It's gonna change your mind or change your world. I will make them for you sometime, Dan.
Okay.
Great. I'm equal opportunity. All right.
Yeah. All right.
I do love a good meatball.
Wait, Rachel, is that what you're cooking? Is that your?
I have a big menu.
Okay.
Jelly meatballs, little smokies, stuffed shells. That's another one. Homemade salsa, and wings, of course.
I will tell you, the only thing I asked when we got married 20-something years ago, the only thing I cared about, even my own cake, I was like, whatever, I don't care. All I wanted was pigs in a blanket.
Okay.
I don't like those. Those are just gross. I like the little weenies, but not the pigs in the blanket.
Sean and I are just going to be quiet right there.
Okay. Well, let's move on.
Exactly.
Okay. Today, let's talk about today's five. We'll talk about the latest DHS shutdown showdown and the very different tones we're hearing from both sides right now. We'll discuss the latest in quid pro quo politics. President Trump making an interesting offer to Chuck Schumer in recent days. We'll discuss Democrats. Oh, yes. We'll discuss sort of Democrats' new 2028 midterm paranoia. They're sounding the alarms right now, and we'll sort of dive into the latest with why Tulsi Gabbard was in Georgia. We'll discuss 2028. Who are our top candidates? Who do we think are the top Democrats to run that for 2028? And where is Vance standing in the party on the other side? We'll do our typical winners and losers, what to watch, and then a fun Super Bowl segment, politics of the Super Bowl at the end. But first, let's look at the daybook here. Everybody's watching the New Jersey special election. The results right now are too close to call as of just a few minutes ago when I checked the New York Times website. But the progressive candidate backed by AOC and Sanders is on the cusp of a big upset here. She is leading Malinowski by almost 500?
Yeah, 450-ish votes. Yep.
Yeah, less than a percentage with 91% of the vote counted. So what are we thinking here? Is she going to come out ahead, Dan?
I honestly don't know where the last 9% are coming from. So, that's how you would map out probability, but it looks like the AOC Bernie Sanders candidate is going to win. She used to work for Bernie Sanders. And if you're AIPAC, you need to be looking in the mirror today at your incredible stupidity. You took out a moderate who was an ally of Israel to elect a pro-Palestinian candidate. Well done, AIPAC.
I wonder if they get involved. That's definitely a blue seat, but with the right money and the right turnout, you could. I don't know this is the right environment, but it's not out of the question Republicans make a play that does AIPAC say we screwed up so bad we need to double down and come in for the Republican.
Yeah, no, I mean it's possible it's three-dimensional chess or it's childish checkers, one or the other. Yeah.
1:40, the Winter Olympics opening ceremony in Milan starts. JD Vance is there cheering on Team USA. Are you guys going to watch?
Can I ask? I was about to ask that question. I saw that on the morning news this morning, and I was like, I didn't realize they were technically they've started. There was a
women's hockey,
women's hockey.
And we won
figure skating, but 5-1, right?
Beat Finland.
I just was like, God, this has been the lamest build up to the Olympics I've ever seen.
Yeah. I'll check, here and there. I'll look at the highlights. It's always fun to see the outfits when people walk in. Who has what? I think Ralph Lauren has outfitted Team USA in a kind of Western, mountain kind of like Aspen chic attire. So it's always fun. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'll definitely have it on in the background. 3:00, the president's going to be signing executive orders in the Oval Office before he heads to Palm Beach. And before we dig in, let's do a quick word from our sponsor, Cozy Earth.
Okay, so look, it's coming up here. Sorry, just blanked there for a second. We have Super Bowl
Friday.
Sunday, coming up, and most of us will be on the couch watching the game. And what better way to enjoy it than with a Cozy Earth bubble blanket? Or if you're like me, sometimes you're in your pajamas by 6 o'clock on Sunday night. You're not too proud to say it. In fact, you're quite proud to say it. So you can go to Cozy Earth. You can use our code Huddle BOGO, BOGO, buy one get one free. So obviously you've already ordered some for Valentine's Day for your partner, perhaps for yourself. But hey, for the Super Bowl, it's always nice to be comfortable when you watch the big game. So go to Cozy Earth, use our code, and enjoy their wonderful products. And if you need to light your candles because the house smells from all these foods in there, don't forget Cozy Earth has candles.
I was at a parents' event last night, and a father came up to me and said, I literally ordered the bubble blanket for my wife, and she loves it. So you know who you are, big watcher of the show. But
I used it this morning while prepping for the show, like just right here in my office. So there you go.
Blanket is a winner if you don't want the pajamas, which you should. You actually get both. Get both.
Yes.
Thanks to Cozy Earth. 2 housekeeping notes. So after the show today, we have our post-show chat for super fans. Again, if you guys are not signed up and you want more time with us, $10 a month, $100 a year. We jump on a Zoom right after the show. And today people are going to hear from Dan. So don't forget to join that. And then also, if you're watching right now, go to our YouTube page at the DC Huddle and subscribe. As Sean always says, it's free. We've got tens of thousands of people listening right now. And if every one of you go right now and subscribe, it'll do us a huge favor. So please do that. But let's jump right in. Let's talk about DHS shutdown or shutdown 3.0. We are 1 week away, guys, from just the latest deadline to come up with an ICE deal. You've got the two sides striking very different tones. The White House sort of offering this sort of conciliatory approach, continuing with Caroline Leavitt yesterday during her briefing, talked about wanting to get to a deal and emphasizing things that they have, done to sort of reach out. And then you have Democrats who have not only expanded their demand list this week, but people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who sent a warning shot to Chuck Schumer yesterday saying it could be a huge failure if he doesn't get all 10 demands, which, by the way, is not going to happen. Let's start right there, Dan. How, or rather, can this come together by next Friday?
Yeah, I actually think, tone matters here. And I think that, Chuck Schumer's response was, hey, we're waiting for the White House to kind of tell us what it is they can live with. And Caroline Leavitt said, there are things we can live with. I actually, if you cut through the noise yesterday, think a deal is going to happen. I've said this all week. I think both sides are incentivized. And it's not bad for Schumer to have AOC out there. because he can kind of say to the White House, look, this is as far as I can go. Like, I've got a red hot base out there. This is what we can live with. This is what my moderates will live with in the Senate. As long as AOC doesn't turn around and just, kind of savage him when he's done, there's a way to play this. But to me, the tone yesterday said a deal is going to come together. And it's probably going to be Schumer and Trump directly, or their staffs directly negotiating this, not Trump and Schumer literally, but their staffs. I would imagine that this weekend there will be some quiet talks happening.
Let's actually bring up this poly market. Let's see what it says. So people actually believe there is a what? Here it is. 68% chance that we'll be in a shutdown by February 14th.
And it's just been going up here. Yep.
Do you agree with Dan's take that it's probably not going to happen, or you think it's more likely?
I'm on team poly market here. Like I think that where people are, because poly market is a general reflection of where people are. It's sort of, and I think that's about right. I think in fact it might be a little low. I will bet you the betting market. Like I actually will be interested where it is when we come back on the air on Monday. My guess is that that's in the 70s. I was at that briefing yesterday with Caroline. I think she handled the question really well.
Yep.
But she didn't. Normally, you would say, look, the face masks are out of the question. Where you guys know our position. She was very clear. I'm not going to negotiate from the podium. I'm not going to say anything, and full stop. I don't get. I think that there's room for compromise, as I've said, on a number of issues. I don't think that Schumer thinks he has the leash that he does, and this is always one of these Washington things, which is, the leaders may cut a deal sometimes. Does the rank and file go along with it? I just don't think that the base of the Democratic Party is going to stomach a deal. And so my guess, like, I think that poly market is probably spot on right now. But I think it's going to rise.
I think it's right. I think it's about right too, Sean. And here's why. I think the chances of a deal coming together next week are like slim to nil. But the question right now is whether Democrats let Republicans sort of buy more time here, right? There's already discussion in both chambers, mostly in the Senate though, about kicking the can out another 2 weeks. Just a reminder that Democrats were the ones who initially said, we only want to fund DHS for 2 weeks. We only want 2 weeks to come up with this crazy difficult deal. And then 5 days into that 2 weeks, they came out and expanded their demands. I mean, we're a week out. So the question is, like, are they going to give themselves more time? And I was talking to people about this yesterday. There are some people in the administration who think enough Democrats might actually come to the table to say, okay, let's kick the can a couple of more weeks. That's the big question. Like, if Democrats do that, is it going to be seen as giving away leverage?
Well, I don't think so. And I think here's the thing that Democrats also believe. They don't believe that Donald Trump at the State of the Union wants to get up and have this be about Minnesota. That he would like to have a deal in the rearview mirror. And he would like try to flip the conversation back to, all these other areas that they think they have higher political terrain. Do I think that the Nevada senators and John Ossoff and, some of the more moderate factions in the Democratic Senate would take a deal with 6 of the 10? I do. And I think that is ultimately, we're not going to get all 10. I know parts of the base are going to be upset, but I think what they're going to say is, if you look at where we were in January and where we are now on immigration, the tide has moved. The winds are with us. And now we're going to go to the ballot box on a lot of this stuff. That may be a losing proposition if it's over, name IDs. But I do think a deal is going to, if we have a shutdown, let me ask you guys both this. In 2 weeks, are we still shut down? If you think
there's a more likely scenario that we do what you're like, I think that they'll kick the can down the road, but I think that there might be a lapse in funding, which is the new phrase.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they'll be like, hey, remember, we are now down to one department, just DHS. Yeah. Everything else is funded to the end of the year. I do think that we could end up with a Friday to Monday lapse in funding, and then another 2 week, and then another 2 week. I think the problem is, as I said, the Republicans seem to be playing this well with giving themselves a lot of latitude. The Democrats seem to be putting themselves into a box. I mentioned this yesterday. I was surprised at the level of specificity and detail on that list of 10 because it boxes them in more and more.
Yep.
That's what Republicans said to me last night on the Senate side. And by the way, Dan, a Democrat on the Senate side said the same thing that you just mentioned, which is like, keep in mind, it only needs to be a handful of Democrats that vote with Republicans on this to extend it. It's not going to be the whole party. It's going to be just a sliver, and those Democrats are going to get beat up, but they're ultimately going to be the ones.
Remember that sliver though is 7. I mean, that's the hard part. I mean, I can give you the first 4 pretty easy, but last time you think about the Angus Kings from Maine, like it's going to be a lot harder for him. I mean, because he also helps Collins out. He votes for a deal that's helping Susan Collins. So I think that this has gotten a lot more complicated.
Yeah. No, I agree with you that the 10 raised some eyebrows, but I do think, again, cut through the noise. I think the tone of both sides were, let's talk.
All right, let's move on, guys. So this happens all the time in politics. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. And sometimes when we're lucky, we get a little peek behind the curtain about those deals that are either offered or that are struck. Such was last night, Punchbowl scooping that the president offered Chuck Schumer an interesting deal. The president wants Dulles Airport and Penn Station to be renamed after him. And he told Schumer that if you endorse this, if you back the renaming after me, I will unfreeze this money that's on hold for the New York Gateway project. Keep in mind that this infrastructure project is supposed to start apparently laying people off as soon as today, because this funding is frozen at the federal level. Dan, Schumer said no to this, but let's be realistic here. The president is going to find a way to rename these things after himself. Should he have just taken a potential, win out of this and gotten something for it?
I think this is, you want to talk about politics. Schumer, I think, really probably could not say yes, but it's going to happen. For those who don't know, Penn Station, the massive train station here in New York City, is going to get rebuilt. The federal government has taken it over to help the state. There's been talk that Kathy Hochul, in order to get the federal government to help pay for this, has basically agreed to rename it after Donald Trump. And then obviously Dulles Airport in DC, the big international, primarily the main international airport, also is about to undergo a renovation. I just think it is remarkable that Trump does love to put his name on stuff. And I do think he runs a risk. 99% of America doesn't care about this. But I do think you're going to hear more that he's doing stuff for him, not for you. And I know, Sean, you're going to roll your eyes at that. But every time these things come up, sticking your name on the Kennedy Center, sticking your name kind of all over the White House, I do think the average American kind of is like, really? Like, that's what you're doing? I just don't think it plays well. But it's very Trump.
Let me just say 3 things on this. There's something about the way that this went. I don't really buy it. And
the White House doesn't deny it. They did not deny it when asked for comment.
Right, well, but there's just something like it came from Punchbowl, which means it's coming from Schumer's office. I think that's pretty much probably. Okay. 2 is, let's just say hypothetically that this is true. Okay. Let's say hypothetically that Donald Trump said point blank everything that they reported. Chuck Schumer's job primarily is to represent the people in New York.
Yeah.
Why do you care? I mean, if this was 100% true, if you're Chuck Schumer and there's a bunch of people that are about to get laid off on a massive project, and all you have to do is acquiesce about a Virginia airport, why do you give a crap? I mean,
that's what I was wondering.
But that's why the funny thing is, I think that if this was true, I thought about it and I go, if you're Schumer and you should be looking out for the people of New York, the workers of New York, wouldn't you just say, yeah, fine, go name it whatever you want, as long as you can keep these folks employed and get this project back on track? I'm for it. I just thought it was like a very I know Schumer thought that it was like he was like apparently gloating about this, to I stood up to Trump.
Yeah. You
let your people down. There are people that are going to go, if this is true, then you just put people out of work because you're being selfish, because you wanted to show people you could stand up to Donald Trump. And so for that reason, and to Dan's point, my last thing is, I don't know, even if it's true, he's going to do it anyway. It's not like
he's going to do it anyway.
And by the way, once he leaves office, take his name off of it.
Right. And that's what they will. Democrats will take his name off everything. There's no doubt about it. But
I think some Republicans might.
I want to pull back, though, on this relationship. Just pull back on this relationship real quick, because these are the 2 men, the 2 leaders who are expected to strike some sort of ICE deal. Republicans want the president to handle it. Democrats are looking to Schumer, at least right now, to negotiate. And you have, the president making this offer. holding this over Schumer's head. And then Schumer, if we're correct, leaking it to the press to make him look good. Obviously, the story doesn't say that. We are making an assumption there. But it certainly looks like he was trying to make a point and win chits with the left. What does this mean for their relationship going into these talks, Sean? I mean, the president has a relationship with Schumer.
Yeah.
Like, how's it going to impact things?
I mean, the president, when he's able to compartmentalize in a just an unbelievably unique way. I mean, he could be yelling at you for an hour and completely empathetic to you 10 minutes later on something. So he does. I think he looks at things very specifically. Like, okay, we're talking about funding for here. Now we're talking about ICE. So I don't know that it will impact him at all. In fact, if anyone, it's going to impact Schumer more than him.
Well,
yeah, I actually think they have a great relationship.
If they're supposed to strike a deal. Sorry, go ahead.
I think they have a great relationship, and I actually think they like each other. And I think what Schumer did was a little bit of base politics, right? Which is like, hey, I stood up. He wants his name, like, MoveOn.orgs of the world. Like, I'm with you. Both of them love a transactional partner. And I think both of them, they used to be friends. They used to raise money from each other. They used to go to a lot of the same parties in New York City together. I actually think they both think I'll strike a deal and I'll outsmart the other. Mm-hmm. I think they both believe that, but they are both highly transactional. I think deep down they both like each other, and they'll negotiate with each other all day long.
I was going to say, do you guys think they will actually strike a deal?
Yes,
you do. The two of them
on immigration. You mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
I think ultimately, sure, it may take a while.
I'm skeptical. I think Schumer, it's not to his political advantage to strike a deal with the president right now.
Yes, it is.
I disagree. I'm not saying he should. I'm just saying, like, the left is going to go ballistic, and he's.
But hold on a sec. Schumer's job is, so I think everyone agrees, and our friends at Axios wrote about it this morning. For the first time this election cycle, there is a lot of belief that Democrats could, it's legitimate, win the Senate, right? We all agree about it. Not likely, but it's maybe 30, 40%, and it was 3 to 4% a year ago. If you're Chuck Schumer, this issue, the border and immigration, has been a cudgel on your head for a decade. You think about, we have to win in Maine, North Carolina, Ohio, let's say Iowa, Texas, Alaska. You can take an issue off the table, maybe even be to your advantage. You take that deal 6 ways to Sunday every single day. Your eye is on the prize. I want the majority back. That's it. It's all Schumer cares about.
I understand the logic, Dan. Like, I actually agree. I would think they would think this, but just seeing the way the base is reacting right now. And Schumer, unlike Mitch McConnell, Schumer does care about how the base
he does.
Mitch McConnell used to put up those cartoons on his wall, people making fun of him. He did not care if the base came after him and hated him. Schumer's a different animal.
But you know what Schumer thinks? Schumer thinks in November, is our base going to be fired up, ready to go? You're darn right they are.
Okay, we got to
move on. The last thing is, Schumer's got a two-front war. He's got to worry about his base, his caucus, and he's also got to worry about home state stuff, New York, and he's got to worry about AOC.
Agreed.
So I just think that's the one thing. He's got to be playing chess.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on to Georgia. So after the president earlier this week called for the, quote, nationalization of federal elections, and in light of Tulsi Gabbard going down to Fulton County, Georgia, Democrats are now accusing the administration, get this, of laying the groundwork to cheat in 2026. Mark
Without
Warner,
evidence.
Listen, no evidence. I should say that, and I will say that. Mark Warner, the top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee, told reporters that this is a, quote, coordinated effort to try to interfere in the 2026 midterms, even in primaries. And then Richard Blumenthal was on TV earlier this week, and I remember I stopped and I was like, wait, what did he just say? He said that Trump is looking to do a totalitarian takeover of voting using ICE and CBP. And today on MSNBC, they're talking about Tulsi seizing polling centers or polling machines. This is really serious accusations with not a lot of proof right now, Dan. Like, I get that Democrats, they're scarred by what happened in 2020, but is it responsible for them to be talking like this?
Well, I think you left out the whole first half of this topic, which is the shifting rationale for why Tulsi Gabbard was in Georgia. Not our shifting rationale. Todd Blanche, Donald Trump, and Tulsi have all been saying different things for the last week. So you start with the 2020 paranoia, right, of the scar tissue of what went down. Then they say, what on earth is the director of national intelligence doing on the ground in Georgia? When we've heard, I think it's CNN has it, there are 6 different rationales that have been given in the last 7 days.
There's a lot.
So in Democrats' minds, what is out there, and Mark Warner, for those who don't know, is not AOC. Like, as a rule, he is a fairly moderate, sober person on issues of national intelligence. There is a belief in the Democratic Party that what is happening is that Trump is going, and the administration is going to attempt to say that they cannot trust the voting in several states, that they have found this, that they'll try to find something in Georgia, and that they will then refuse to seat elected people who are elected in November, thus preventing, let's say, Democrats from taking the Senate and or the House. I first heard about this summer and thought, this is crazy. This is conspiracy theories. I still believe it's crazy conspiracy theories, but I can tell you it is, as Mark Warner and Richard Blumenthal are expressing in the public, this belief that Trump is going to try to steal or block the midterms is so rampant in the Democratic Party, but just like it's rampant in the Republican Party that Georgia was stolen in 2020. I mean, it's like, here's your conspiracy theory, and now here's our conspiracy theory.
2 wrongs don't make a right there.
Oh, I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
All right, so let me just make my media rant for now. I mean, again, to Dan just said it. Okay, like the idea that like these folks are able to make these claims over and over again every weekend. Kristen Welker loves to say the word without evidence to whatever Republican guest before they can even say hi. Every media personality in the legacy media loves that phrase. Politico, they all love to say it. So-and-so said without evidence. And yet here's Mark Warner, the vice chairman of the Intelligence Committee, making outlandish accusations without evidence. And not one person in the media pushed back on him. Not one. Blumenthal, same thing. The complicity and the deceit of the legacy media is unbelievable. And so that's number one. Number two, Caroline addressed this yesterday in the briefing room. And I will say that at least some of the people that I've talked to, Caroline went in a different direction than I was. But remember, there are a lot of allegations about foreign powers potentially being involved in interfering in the election. Okay. These allegations, by the way, as Caroline said yesterday in the briefing, for all of the folks in the media, especially who talked about Russian interference, you might maybe then think, hey, it's a great idea that the director of national intelligence is looking into some of these things. What have they been doing? What are they doing? But they're the ones who lit the fire on this intelligence, all of these foreign powers interfering on the election. So the director of national intelligence looking into it actually might make a heck of a lot of sense.
So why? Well, so one of the allegations that the Venezuelans are hacked into Puerto Rican voting machines. Is that something that you think, Sean, there's truth to that?
Well,
so I wasn't aware of the Puerto Rican ones.
It says Gabbard looked into it.
Yeah, I mean, so the challenge here is, for the last 6 years, I mean, even go back to 2016 when Trump initially said that Ted Cruz stole Iowa. Like, there have been this increasing idea that like elections are stolen that has primarily been on the right has now gone to the left. There is
wait, hold on. We spent 10 years about Russian interference, Russian collusion, the Steele dossier. I'm sorry, I don't remember us being the drivers of that narrative.
Wait,
I hear you,
but I mean, again, we got to go back to the question. Russia did interfere. We're saying it wasn't a lot.
But collusion was Democrats.
So there you go. But two separate things. So there is no denying, not by your own party, that Russia did interfere. The question is the degree and was it coordinated?
When and who were they for?
You have to stop there.
And Iran,
that was a fact.
North Korea, China.
Okay, great. I mean, go look at that. If there is proof that a foreign power is interfering in our elections, that absolutely should be brought up. I have never heard in Georgia, not from Brian Kemp, not from the Secretary of State, not the Lieutenant Governor, not from the 2 Senate Republicans that lost, of any foreign power. If you find it, great. Bring it forward.
All right, and just to back up, there is no governor, there is no Secretary of State that ever has access to any of that information. None. Zero. of any
They'd have
government.
access to the voting machines and the files
No,
and everything else.
Any intelligence material. They're not read in at that level to know that there's any foreign intelligence. There's zero.
Oh, Sean, are you suggesting, do you know something we don't?
I'm just telling you that there are people that I have talked to that believe that there are allegations of foreign interference that are being looked at, whether they're true or not. Again, same thing with any crime.
2020 or now?
2020. So,
okay, so in your view, this is more about the past.
Can I just and one other thing that's important to note in this whole discussion is Tulsi hasn't said a word. She went down, she did this investigation, they wrapped it up. And yet Mark Warner, without evidence, without any supposition, went out and started making accusations. It's funny, they light the wick when it comes to Russia without evidence. And then they make outlandish claims that we shouldn't be looking into stuff that they have no. Tulsi.
Well, that's not true. Todd Blanche has gone on the record with 3 different versions of why she was there. So that is just not true, Sean. Your own administration can't get their you-know-what together on this, which feeds suspicions. And again, I will take this to a higher level. The more Trump is focused on 2020, he is not focused on every issue that is in the top of polls in people's minds. To me, this remains insanity that they are so focused on litigating 2020. I just think the average voter in the middle is like, are you kidding me?
I don't disagree with you in the sense that voters are always looking towards the future, right?
Always.
So, but I guess my point is, if Trump was out there every day, last night he was talking about Trump RX, which I think was another great issue on affordability. Yep. He's not talking. I mean, like, I get why Democrats want to bring it up. I don't disagree that there is a little message discombobulation on this, but at the end of the day, as long as he's not focused on this, which he's not, we're fine.
Speaking of looking toward the future, let's go to our next segment, do a little 2028 check-in. So I'm just going to throw it open here. Who are the top 3 Democrats for 2028 right now? Dan, what'd you say?
All right. So here are my top 3 as we start February. My first is AOC. And I know most people would say Gavin Newsom, but I'm going to say AOC because if she speaks, everybody responds.
Yeah.
Everybody responds. Gavin Newsom's on style, but AOC owns the energy of the party and she owns the substance lane, and everyone responds to her. They don't respond to Newsom. 2 is Gavin Newsom because I think he just has positioned himself as the kind of, troller in chief. For 3, I have a tie, and this is because it matters which states go first. And a little birdie has told me the state to watch that may go first, Sean, is your home state of Virginia here. Keep an eye on it. There is a movement in the DNC. You can imagine how much people in DC would love it because it's right there. It's diverse. It's got everything. I think Spanberger is open to this. So are the 2 senators.
Oh,
if it is Virginia, then I think Josh Shapiro is my number 3 because people like Shapiro and Romp, that history of moderate candidates. But if it's not, Kamala Harris right now, for all that we mock, is going to start at least in, if not the pole position, she's going to be 1 or 2 in every single state, in every single poll. And when she speaks, whether it's the media mocking her or whatnot, she's going to get attention. So for that reason, I have Shapiro and Harris as 3.
Sean, did you want to give 3 or should we?
Yeah, I'll give you my 3. But I will just say there's been a crime against humanity that was announced last night. Speaking of Virginia, this map that came out 10-1, it is so. I'm all for gerrymandering, just so we're clear, and I'm 100% consistent, right? Like I get, but what they did, what the Democrats have done to the Commonwealth of Virginia, if you haven't seen this map, I put it out on my social media feeds. It's literally disgusting. I mean, you have they took 10 districts, made 1 Republican one in the Southwest, and the tentacles go that you could, I think someone remarked that you could technically represent a part of Arlington all the way down to Southwest Virginia. I mean, it really is a travesty. And I'm a pro gerrymander guy, but it will get struck down. I think the courts will be clear on this. To Dan's point, by the way, if Virginia would be a great test, if I were the Democrats, you've got a lot of military in the Tidewater area. You've got some HBCUs, Virginia State. I mean, like, it's actually not
rural down in Roanoke, everything.
You got a big Black community, which is super important. A big Hispanic community building, Asian community in Northern Virginia. It actually
they could
would be
change
smart.
their laws, everything. Yep.
Yeah, but I will say this: it actually is really expensive, and that's
Yep.
the one thing that if I were a Democrat, I'd be a little hesitant of, because you got to compete in the DC market in particular, and then it's like the DC market and then the rest of Virginia. That being said, and I will actually argue for that reason, if Virginia went first, it would still codify. I think Kamala Harris is number one. She's got the resources, as Dan pointed out. She's got Black women probably on her side, which is going to be important in terms of both raising money and energy. As much as that book tour, we mocked portions of it, it showed that she's got some grassroots support. She's my number one. Gavin Newsom is number two. And then I do think that I've always said that there was a car crash at number three between like Whitmer and maybe Bashir or whatever, but I'm willing to give up my number three slot right now to Shapiro. He's at least taking the steps, looking like he's organizing, which at some point counts for something. So until I see Whitmer or Bashir or somebody else step up a little bit more, even Rahm, I think to me, my number three slot is very soft, but I will say that right now Shapiro's got it.
Yeah. Let's move on to the other side of things, because Vance still appears to be the one to beat. Obviously, let's pull up this new sound from CNN about his position with MAGA.
Obviously, J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States, at this point looks like a favorite for the Republican nomination come 2028. And one of the reasons why he looks like a favorite is because the Republican base loves J.D. Vance. What are we talking about here? Someone who really represents the Make America Great Again movement. This is somebody a year ago, his favorable rating among Republicans, 81%. Latest Marquette University Law School poll, look at this. 84%. 84%. So if anything, his favorable rating is somewhat up from where it was a year ago, after a year of Trump. And of course, that matches what we see when it comes to MAGA, right? It matches what we see coming to MAGA, whereby it was 74 and now it's 78%. If anything, MAGA's grip on the GOP, and it seems like the next in line to be the next standard bearer of MAGA, both of them, their favorable ratings are actually up after a year of Donald Trump's second term.
So I literally saw some Bannon allies yesterday tweeting never Vance, but clearly, Sean, they are in the minority when it comes to the base.
I'd love to know I mean, look.
I'll send them to you. You can.
Okay, because I was going to say, look, whether even if you don't like J.D. Vance, okay, for all of the reasons we talk about the Democrats in terms of enthusiasm, momentum, donor, grassroots, J.D. has it all right now. Like, it's not even close. The only way that there is somebody that will beat J.D. Vance is if he says, I'm not running. That's it, full stop. It is his to take. And the president leaning in that NBC interview about a Vance Rubio ticket. If that's the case, I mean, like literally over, done. And I do think it's an unbelievably compelling ticket for a variety of reasons. But I just, to me, there's a bunch of people that there's not even a second. It's like it goes from first to like 20. Like there's no one even close to JD in terms of his ability to raise money, his ability to get the grassroots fired up, to keep MAGA intact, 100% full stop.
Sean, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, he appears to also know it, because I was looking at the clips from the Daily Mail interview that he just did, and he had a chance to go after Laura Loomer. The question was teed up perfectly, like ready for the spike. And instead he was gracious and was like, Laura Loomer, who has been super critical of Vance online. He's like, she's important to the party. She's important to MAGA. She's close to the president. She's pushing for his agenda, played the bigger person there. And that to me says he doesn't even feel the need to try to hit back, But.
Yeah, it could be two things. One is he doesn't feel the need. Two is that, he also wants to, like, there's a point at which if you're Laura Loomer or anyone else for that matter, and you recognize that someone's dissent, you're like at some point you get a chance to like, maybe I should reassess and hitch my wagon.
Attacking the vice president.
Sean, right. I got a question for you though. So do you think that, like, I get the sense Cruz is trying to think about running. Do you think that Sarah Huckabee Sanders and a DeSantis and others will run on the theory of, like, we'll run a positive campaign, kind of build some credibility and kind of go around the block once, and you never know, he could stumble, catch lightning in a bottle? Or do you think literally, other than maybe Cruz and Bannon, nobody will actually run? They'll all support JD.
So like you go through that list, I think DeSantis maybe, because he has got to figure out I mean, I actually thought that he would have appointed himself to the Senate.
Yeah.
To stay in the game. I don't know. Maybe he plots a comeback, but I think, as I mentioned, Byron Donalds is going to be the next governor. That's an 8-year stint potentially. Ron's got to keep himself relevant, but I think he tried already once to kill the king and fell. So, and I think donors might be a little gun shy. That's the other thing. We always talk about it with the tech world.
Money. Yep.
If you're a Republican donor and you played that DeSantis game once and you lost, are you really going to do it again? Yep. So I think it's a good question. I think DeSantis maybe, because he's got to figure out what he does. And so it's like, why not? But I do wonder how much money he can raise. Sarah, I don't think so. I haven't talked to her about it, but I think the idea would be maybe think that he doesn't want just to pick Rubio and try to add something new to show that you are different from what the president wanted.
Sure.
That would be those are the only people in my world that I think could rise to that level.
When is Huckabee Sanders done with her stint as governor? When does she finish? Like, can she
3 years now? She have 3 left.
3 more, yeah. Okay. Yeah, she's definitely someone to watch in the future. Okay, let's do winners, losers, and what we're watching, but let's keep it really fast today because we want to get to the Super Bowl politics. Loser. Dan.
APAC. Just
Mine was the
insanity.
exact same.
Yep. There you go. Look at that short.
Look at that.
Yeah. I was just going to look. I think I had a few that I was going to tee up, but I'll say Kamala Harris. I mean, the rollout this week, it got when he gets mocked by Democrats, and she tried to do the whole like 6-7 thing. It literally, when CNN calls it cringy, which is their word. I mean, not their word, but that's how they described it. I was like, if you're getting mocked by CNN, like that's not good. And I think her attempt to roll her thing out again, she was on the heels of a book tour that went well. It wasn't good.
Yeah, a lot of things are cringy around her. Okay, winner, Dan.
Oh, you guys are going to love this. Kamala Harris is my winner of the week. Why? Because she remains at the 1 or 2 in every single poll. Everyone is talking about her. And as much as I agree with everything both of you just said, and I think every Democrat I know agrees with everything you said, and every media person agrees with everything you said, she continues to hang around the polling rim, and I will give her. She's often my loser. I will give her credit. She's a winner.
Can I make one quick point just so it's on the tape, as I like to say? I'm surprised that we haven't heard more about Pete Buttigieg. I always thought that he would rise to the top. I always thought he would have been the guy that really filled the void for the Democratic Party because he checked so many boxes. I'm a little shocked.
That's a good question. Where has he been? He
needs Michigan or New Hampshire to go first. It's got to happen for him. He just can't break through. There's nothing that he does or says. It's just he's Midwestern nice, and he can't. It's not an era.
Also,
right now.
He was a bit of an abysmal failure as transportation secretary. I mean, like, so he doesn't. When you have a lot of issues,
your opinion.
No, I think in like the opinion of people who like drove a car, got on a boat, drive on a plane. My winner. So I have 3.
Oh my gosh, Sean, pick one.
Well,
we gotta go.
Well, my obvious. I mean, Mike Vrabel.
Mine's are short.
My big winner is Mike Vrabel. He's coach of the year last night. Yeah. Drake May, closest MVP race ever, came up 1 vote short. You want to talk about a race that was stolen between the Hall of Fame and that last night? It's a disgrace what happened to Belichick, Kraft, and Drake May. I thought Melania Trump, not only did her documentary do well, she had a great reunion with the Seagulls, who she helped. President Trump helped bring back the hostage, and they reunited in the White House this week. Yep, but then I also think Trump RX was a big hit last night. So there you go.
Lordy, he's just going to take over the whole show, Dan.
Exactly.
My winner is the construction companies here in DC. Now we're going to completely remake the Trump Kennedy Center that comes after the East Room.
I think because they're still plowing.
There is some
the Ark. Don't forget the Ark. The Ark to
exactly.
Trump.
Yeah, which is apparently going to be like bigger than the Lincoln Memorial.
250 feet for 250 years.
Okay. What we're watching.
All right. Which has bigger halftime ratings, Bad Bunny or Kid Rock? Sean, just say I agree with Dan. He's always right.
Well, I was going to say what I'm looking for is the halftime report and the ratings. I agree with Dan. I've urged everybody if you want to watch the game, which you should because of the Patriots, turn it off at halftime and turn on the TP USA halftime.
Okay, if you're a Democrat 2028er, who is on social media with Bad Bunny memes? And I mean, this is a transition into the politics.
It's going to be Kamala being like, "I'm a Bad Bunny too."
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm a Bad Bunny too, with some bunny ears.
Yeah.
I don't know. Wow. Okay, your guys' is fun. Mine was like too serious. I'm watching John Thune under pressure from the base. Save Act apparently again coming to the House next week. You've got a ton of people. There's a very clear coordinated campaign right now to push him on the filibuster when it comes to the Save Act. The president's truthing about it. They're not going to get rid of the filibuster. I understand that, but it also means that he's going to be bad guy number one in the party. So I'll be watching that.
Can I make one real interesting little dorky note? I had Chip Roy on the show. There's a difference. Save Act is ID. Save America Act is ID and citizenship. And so it'll be interesting because that is a nuance that's important. So Chip Roy updated his own legislation now called the Save America Act, which requires both ID and proof of citizenship.
Can I just one serious thing here? I know we were pressed for time. Quickly, do you guys agree? Unlikely Trump would attack Iran during the Olympics. Boy, that'd be interesting.
Seems like he's not going to do that.
Well, I know, but I don't know. But do you guys think there's a 2-week pause, or no? You think it's all options remain on the table?
I mean, he does like a good head fake, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Right. Everybody's looking here.
Maybe if Lindsey Vonn doesn't meddle, then he says, "Screw it." I don't know.
Okay.
By the way, Brian Kilmeade this morning on Fox and Friends, very much pushing him to strike, saying he.
Oh well, then set your.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about politics.
There's a third halftime show. It's in Tehran. Yep.
Politics in the Super Bowl. So both Susan Collins and James Tallarico have ads running. And there are obviously, as we just discussed, these dueling halftime shows between Bad Bunny, who has criticized ICE and was a Harris supporter, and Kid Rock, who's very pro-Trump and is doing his own show. I think we should start there with Bad Bunny because clearly this guy is divisive. So why would they pick him? Who picks these things, and why would they pick
the NFL? And he's the number one. There's a reason he won the Emmy. I mean, he is the most popular kind of pop culture singer right now in the United States and in the world. So the NFL is no dummy, and he's strong that they stood by him.
Actually, Dan, I disagree. Like the NFL should be concerned like any business with the ratings, and picking somebody that is known to be divisive is just, to me, it shows how. I mean, this is the NFL blows my mind. I love the fact that, as you can tell, one of the best ways to end racism, as you know, is to put end racism in an end zone. Because once you do that, people aren't racist anymore. As soon as you put a slogan in an end zone, it just ends it. So you can be like, be nice, end racism, and it's over. That's the NFL's wokeism is just so mind-boggling to me, because it's about watching a game. It's about football. And the idea that they have to inject themselves into culture and politics, to me, is just so bad business.
Well, there's just so many superstars that they could choose from. I mean, like, I would totally be down with another Katy Perry performance on halftime for the halftime show. One of my favorites, just saying. But let's just remind people. So Bad Bunny at the Grammy said, before I say thanks to God, I'm going to say ICE out. What are the chances he says something about ICE from the film?
Oh, I think the NFL will tell in fact, who has this? It's NBC as the Super Bowl, right?
NBC.
Yeah, they have Olympics too, right?
It is a usually like a 5-10 second delay. I would not be surprised if he says something bad about ICE if they don't beep it out.
Oh, Dan, let's just play that out for a second.
Yeah, and the left will go nuts. The left.
Oh my God, if that happened,
it'll be on X. It'll be on X within real time. But I would imagine the NFL has had a conversation with him to say, and by the way, for those who didn't see it, there is, Disney named a new CEO, and there is a story that Dana Walden, who people thought might get it, the president did not get it because she is close to Kamala Harris, and the Disney board recognized that could be a problem with this White House.
I thought she was going to get it for sure.
I think that there is, I would imagine the NFL and NBC have a game plan.
Interesting.
The funny part is, if that's true, and I agree with you, I think that they had to for a million reasons. I don't know how that doesn't leak out, because somebody around Bad Bunny is going to say he was specifically told he couldn't do this or that. Right. So I'll be shocked if that doesn't get out.
Not only that,
people
but
in the chat are talking about the puppy bowl, but like, look, we got to support Bob Ritchie.
I was going to say he might be more likely to say something if he's told he can't.
Or he's more likely to even have some. I mean, he's not a shrinking violet. It's possible his attire.
Yeah, I was going to say there's going to be a pin. He's going to have some stupid pin on that's, it's like all the folks at the Grammys. Again, that's what deal you put a pin on, and I care that.
Well, I mean, look, it's like, do you think Kid Rock's going to have a MAGA hat on?
Of course.
Yeah.
But that's not like, half the country or more necessarily having to watching that because they're taking in the Super Bowl. My bet in the dance moves, they're going to do some sort of interpretive something on ice.
Boy, I would imagine ESPN has, maybe, or NBC. I think the other interesting thing, though, is that the politics of how you run ads around the Super Bowl. Like, I do think there is an art to this. I remember Michael Bloomberg, and I think it was 2020 when he was rising rapidly, did I think it was a 2-minute advertisement during the Super Bowl. Like, people try to run usually biographical ads, something because there's eyeballs. And so with the Patriots, you have the Senate race up in Maine here with Susan Collins. A lot of Mainers are likely going to be watching. So it's always interesting. Yeah.
Can we play that ad? We're short on time, but we can play it.
Yeah, let's show.
Lives are on the line. They don't hesitate to run towards danger. Unfortunately, the same gear that protects them from deadly flames can be hazardous to their health. Senator Susan Collins to the rescue. Susan helped introduce legislation that protects firefighters.
8 figures, not cheap.
Well, that's right. But I will say the one thing, not just the Super Bowl, live sporting events are still one of the best ways. So many people flip through ads, whatever. You watch live events, whether it's baseball, football, and most fans aren't like, I know some people do that, but most people actually watch it live. So it's still one of the best ways to get through to voters.
Which is one of the reasons Trump loves. I mean, he's a sports fan, but he also knows the power of. And for those who are wondering, earlier this week, we talked about fundraising and the kind of campaigns, what they can do and what outside groups can do. That is an outside group ad. And if you notice, it is thank Susan Collins. So it's a way that they run ads and stay kind of within the law. You don't say vote for Susan Collins. They can't do that. But what they can do is say thank her, or on the other side, call Sean Spicer and tell him that why do you hate puppies? That type of thing. So
just don't like them.
Guys, let's take some questions. Okay. John asks how anyone on Kamala's team still has a job after releasing that headquarters video and immediately getting internet bullied into changing the ridiculous 6'7" to somehow even more ridiculous 6'8". Dan?
I mean, I look, Dr. John, you're right. It was a horrible video, considering that like you were rolling something out for which you've, basically had 16 months to prepare for. It was maybe the worst rollout video that you could plan in that I've ever seen. But it's consistent with her kind of fumbling and bumbling style that it was not, great and cringeworthy. Again, she's still hanging out there as a legit candidate, even though I don't really see a path for her. And I know people are saying this either. I don't think AOC is going to be our nominee. People are like, how on earth do you have her number one? But everyone will respond to everything she says. And that is not true of any other candidate. She has the energy, the money, and the grassroots. That's a good place to start. I don't think she'll be the nominee.
So total side note, until John brought this up, I didn't realize she changed it. They launched it as headquarters like _67. So cute. And then they literally changed it. It's now headquarters. I pulled it up I didn't realize they changed it to headquarters 68 dash. I mean, that just shows you, to your point, like that it was so bad and so, to quote CNN, cringy that you literally responded right away. But when you're like sitting around a whiteboard being like, all right, Mr. Vice President, I got this idea. What if we call it headquarters 6'7"? And they're like, everyone's, oh, what a great idea. I'm like, and then it was so bad that you change it right away. Yeah. That's a sign of weakness and an amateur hour.
I still don't understand the 6'7" thing. Someone tried to explain it to
me.
Oh my God. I don't get it.
It's over. It's over. It's over.
So ridiculous.
All right, let's go to another question.
It's like fetch.
Fetch. Okay. Why has Greenland suddenly disappeared after weeks of dim hysteria? Did Trump get everything he wanted? So his success can't be mentioned.
Well, let me rephrase that in a different way. Trump got nothing he wanted. The issue was a loser. And so he just shelved it off. That's, I mean, start with the fact that he made a deal with somebody for whom has no control over Greenland and can't make a deal. Other than that,
I would agree with this notion that the president was the one who he's not talking about invading Greenland anymore, like plain and simple. So of course Democrats aren't freaking out anymore. Thoughts, Sean?
I mean, I think it's a little of everything. I mean, who knows what he got? I know that it has faded in. I mean, but look, part of this is in America, most issues have a hard time staying in the spotlight for more than like 72, 96 hours. So we move on. The issue, you know, there was a Davos, it was big because all the countries are there. Everyone was talking about it. It ended. They talked about coming to a deal. So we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if this, you know, in the end of February, suddenly we're talking about Greenland again.
sure,
Oh,
I agree.
I was going to say,
agree.
I have wondered if his team sat him down and said, "Sir, let's make this announcement, and then it's time to move on." Like, but then again, he does what he wants.
He's
So
going to declare victory as only
declare
you can declare victory
and move on
and
move
get
on,
out.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, let's take another question here. Okay, so this was going around on social media this morning. So the president reposted something on Truth Social, which included a clip depicting Barack and Michelle Obama as chimpanzees. On what planet is that appropriate? Will any Republican condemn, or will it be the standard response? I haven't seen it. This shiny new outrage is disgraceful. Have you guys seen that?
I have not seen
I literally
this.
saw it
No.
this morning on my Twitter.
I would say, I guess, I'd be curious kind of what the message is. There's obviously a racial undertone in that, or there is of blacks and chimpanzees. I don't know. And unfortunately, this is where I think Trump is Trump, and most people will just roll their eyes. But you're right, Sue. This is not what I would want of a president, a CEO, or anybody. I do believe this is the side of Trump that most voters, I know there are a lot that like it, most voters do not like this side of Donald Trump. But again, I don't know the context of it. So
Yeah, no, I almost wonder if they're like, people are sort of numb to it and it doesn't even impact them
Totally.
anymore. But Sean, like, is this going to be the latest? I haven't seen the tweet. Literally, I haven't seen the tweet.
Well, but I mean, just to be fair to Independent Sue here, all three of us are fairly astute at stuff. I get sent his truths. I mean, like, I see him, and then I'm on some listservs that, like, I didn't see this. So I actually generally.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I only say that because I think sometimes, well, so I don't think it'll be a legitimate, I haven't seen it, because I haven't seen it. You haven't seen it. Dan hasn't seen it. And like I said, generally speaking, the three of us get pretty close to stuff.
Okay, let's take another one. Oh, there it is. It's right there. They just pulled it up.
It's a minute long. So, I mean, I would just be curious what the, again, don't play it. I mean, I would just be very curious what it is, but I mean, just not what you would want of a president, in my opinion.
Let's take another question. Do we have any more questions?
I mean, it's Super Bowl time.
Oh,
all right, before we go,
it looks like we're good then.
Yeah,
It's,
so all right,
9:30. Yep.
Yeah, Rachel, are you making a pick? Or who are you rooting for, Rachel?
I typically pick my sports team based on the color of the uniform or the city where they're from.
Yep.
In this case, I don't particularly like either uniform, so I'm choosing based on the city. Since I danced at Pacific Northwest Ballet in Seattle, I'm going to go for the Seahawks.
Okay.
You don't like red, white, and blue? That's America.
Growing up in Connecticut, I've always liked the Patriots, but I like the Sam Darnold story, given all the adversity he's been through in his career. So I think it'd be a great story if he were to win this, for the Seahawks to win.
I was going to say, Dan, are you anti-Patriots, or you just
no?
Like,
I mean, so I grew up in New Haven, Connecticut, which is in the middle of the state.
Okay.
So to the east,
suburb. It's called New York.
Yeah, to the east of New Haven is all, Celtics, Bruins, Patriots, Red Sox. To the west is mostly New York sports fans. My seminal moment as a kid, Yankees, Red Sox, or gosh, Mets, Red Sox, 1986. I am a Mets fan, obviously, but I've never disliked Boston teams. I've had more birthday parties at Fenway, and my first football game was Patriots Bears, and I think it was 88, 87, first NFL game. So the old Foxborough, it was a regular season game.
There we go. I'm looking forward to the tweets, or not the tweets, the text messages from Sean throughout the game.
Well, I will say, just so you know, you'll either get them after the game, or I will be silent. It's one or the other. But during the game,
focus. All right, guys, we will see you Monday at 8:30. Everybody have a good weekend.